Hello and welcome to BBC Parliament's coverage of election 2010. On Wednesday, the 21st of April, Prime Minister and Labour leader Gordon Brown took questions from Red Dragon FM listeners in Cardiff.
Sit round here.
Thank you very much, everybody. Good morning. Welcome to Wales, and welcome to Wales Prime Minister Bore Da. We've gathered here today a group of listeners to Red Dragon FM, and we'll hear some of their questions in a moment. But first, if you will, some day-to-day business. I have to ask you about that volcanic ash cloud. Why has it taken so long to reopen UK airspace?
To get the right scientific advice, because you've got to make sure that people are safe and secure. We would never be forgiven if we'd let planes fly and there was a real danger to people's lives. We've had discussions with the manufacturers of planes, we've had discussions with the air safety authorities, and we've had to make sure that it's safe to fly in particular zones with a low level of ash, but not a complete absence of ash. And that was what the decision that was made yesterday enabled us to start flights again at 10 p.m. and will enable us to get people home. We were making contingency arrangements to get people through the Channel and to get people from Spain, but now it looks as if we can get lots of people now back. And I think you'll find that our airports are open longer to make that possible.
But where are those 100 coaches that you promised those people stranded abroad?
There are coaches for people in Spain if they need it, but most people will want to come back by the airline or the charter that they've already booked. And most airlines have a responsibility to get people back as quickly as possible. What we were looking at that time was how, if we couldn't open northern European airports, and that included all the ones here, we might have a southern airport that was a hub, but that will not be needed in the way it was in the past. What matters now is that people can get back as quickly as possible in an ordered way and know that they've got the right advice and that they're not going to lose out financially.
And how much of that decision was based on pressure from the commercial airlines?
No, I don't think it was. It was based on we've got the best meteorological office in Europe, really. And we provide information not just to Britain, but to the rest of Europe. And it's fascinating the work that they do. So they had to look at what was happening to the volcano. They had to look at how much ash was in the environment. Some of it was actually falling to the ground. So they had to send up test flights with the airlines to look at where and at what altitudes we were seeing these ash clouds making life very difficult. So a lot of work had to be done. The first thing people will want to be sure of is if you fly in an airplane, that you know it's going to be safe. And that was the first responsibility of government, to make sure that safety was paramount.
Okay. Let's then look at matters concerning Wales specifically, if we can. It's nice to have you here this morning.
It's good to be here.
There has been some criticism, though. People are asking why perhaps it's taken you so long to come here. We're nearly 2 weeks, or we are at 2 weeks into the campaign now. Nick Clegg has been to Wales twice. David Cameron's been here twice.
But look,
why haven't you?
You've seen me in Wales lots of times. I was in Wales only a few weeks before the election. I'm here yesterday, today, and for a bit of tomorrow. So I'm here for a longer period of time. And we had a cabinet in Wales. We had a cabinet in Cardiff at the Millennium Stadium. We wanted to make sure that the cabinet would meet in Wales for the first time in history to show our commitment to Wales and to the people of Wales. And our commitment has always been that we'll work hard to create jobs in a country where we need work and we need employment, and therefore obviously the employment figures show how fragile the situation is, but we are seeing more jobs being created as a result of the work we're doing. And my concern is to make sure we have the jobs of the future, not just jobs for today, but the jobs of the future for young people. And my concern is we have the best public services, so health and schools and policing are nothing but the best.
OK, we'll move on to those issues in a moment, but just one more question from me before we take some of your questions in the audience. Labour's always done very well in Wales. In the last election, you won 29 seats here. But a very recent YouGov ITV Wales opinion poll this week, in fact, puts you at around 33% in Wales, with the Lib Dems closing the gap and jumping ahead of the Conservatives and Plaid Cymru. Are you confident you'll do as well as you did in 2005? And is that not something of a tall order, given those figures.
Nobody is ever going to be complacent. Every single person here sitting in this room, as every citizen in Wales, has a vote. And I've got to argue my case, as Peter Hain, our Secretary of State for Wales, has to argue his case and persuade people that when it comes to getting through the recession and the recovery and jobs, we're best for the future. We've got to persuade people that we're best for the health service, best for schools, best for policing, and in particular that we're best to steer this economy through these new challenging times, get the new industries here, get the new services, get the apprenticeships, get the college and university places, and get the new jobs. And that is our job, to persuade people. You can never be complacent. It's our job to persuade you, and that's, I think, what an election is about.
OK, well, let's take some questions from the audience who've gathered here today. They're Red Dragon FM listeners. Thank you all for coming. Our first question then from Sally Richards. Sally, where are you? Do you want to just stand up? We'll get a microphone
Hi, Sally.
to you.
Nice to meet you.
And your question to the Prime Minister.
I'm going to be setting up a health and beauty business in Barry, but it's tough to try and get money from the banks and from other funding. What will a Labour government do to make it easier for small businesses like me to succeed?
Right. It's a great thing you're doing, and best of luck in your attempt to start a business. And I'm sure it's going to be very popular, and all the work that you put into it will yield results. This year, if you're starting your business, you'll get reduced business rates as a result of the decision we made in the budget. There's a scheme called Time to Pay that will allow you to get cash flow to enable you to move forward. And I would want to help you with the banks. And we've set up an adjudicator. So if you're having a problem with the banks, we want you to say what the problem is so that we can press the banks on your behalf. You see, the banks have let us down. Let's be honest about that. I don't think there's anybody in this room that's not angry about the way the banks behaved. Irresponsible behaviour had to be exposed. You couldn't really know what was going on until you looked right into the books of the banks and found that they were betting, speculating, rather than stewarding your money. So we are insisting that they lend sufficient money for small businesses to get help. We're insisting also that if they don't satisfy a customer, action can be taken. So I'd like to see you getting help with the business start, getting lower rates, keeping interest rates low so that you don't have to pay high interest rates on your loan. And, of course, any business advice you want, the organisations that are here in Wales through the Welsh Development Agency and its successor bodies, they're here to help you as well. I wish you the best of luck.
Sally, does that answer your question? Thank you very much. OK, time for another one. Can we hear from Alex Hales, who's from Uwick?
Alex, nice.
Alex, just wait for a microphone which we'll get to you so we can all hear your question.
I'm currently studying for my degree at the University of Wales Institute Cardiff. I'm finishing soon, so I've got to work out what to do next. Unemployment is obviously higher than a few years ago. What will a Labour government do to change that? And is it worth my while staying in Wales to work?
What are you studying?
Sport and PE.
Yeah, and do you want to go into sports?
I'm not quite sure yet.
Teaching?
Don't think so, no.
It's a sports management. I mean, sports and leisure is one of the fast expanding areas. And you can just see from this constituency area, the cricket ground with all the improvement in the facilities, the athletic ground, and obviously the football ground, that lots of people are interested in sport, and it's a fast expanding area. At the moment, we are, in our Future Jobs Fund, employing quite a number of people to get experience as sports coaches. And you'll find that the Future Jobs Fund is open to people who have been unemployed for a few months, and therefore they can get the chance of learning, if you like, in that way. So there's 10,000 jobs in Wales, and some of them are sports coaching jobs. There's going to be 17,000 under this programme in the next few months. I'd also like you to have the chance to do an internship if you wanted. So work for a firm. But your problem may be, like many people, that you apply for a job and they say you don't have enough experience. But you can't get experience unless you have a job. And so we've got internships, and that is a way that employers and you can be introduced to each other and find out whether you like them and they like what you're doing. So we're expanding the number of internships as well. I think it's right that every young person tries to get the best qualifications possible, because it's the only way that we'll be able to succeed in the modern world with people who are well qualified. The jobs have gone up this month in Wales. Unemployment in some areas is still going up. The claimant count is coming down. And I'm determined that we build on the 100,000 jobs that have been created in Wales under our government since 1997. So for jobs, the Future Jobs Fund, internships that are available for graduates, and any further help you need to get advice on skills and training for the future. But I would advise everybody, it's worth getting the degree, it's worth getting the qualification, because in this new world, people will expect people to have these qualifications when they apply for jobs.